Yo, are we? I think we're live. I think we are. What's up, guys? First, let me know if you can hear me because I never know if this thing's working or not. I think it's working. I turned up the gain on the mic, so it should be really working. Cool. Dude, you guys are awesome. There's so many, like I went to Wendy's, I got a frosty and I got a sandwich. And there's all these people here in the chat. And I was like, whoa, what is going on? All right, so there's so many good comments that I've gotten in the last week on these different videos. So I'm going to cover a lot of those, but I'll also, whatever you guys have. First of all, one thing I did is the lights are red right now instead of blue. That's cool. But the second thing is I took away all of the wrenches and only the first people are getting their wrench. I'm going to do this at the beginning of every video. That way we can get some new people with wrenches in and we can just alternate because I saw there was some people there without wrench or with wrenches that don't watch the lives anymore. So we just did a clean slate and now we're going to get some new wrench people here. Did anyone tell me if you can hear me? I'm going to assume if you can't hear me, you would have said, bro, we can't hear you. Okay. So we got Sophie Kennedy was one of the first ones here. Okay. Boom, moderator. Lucas, boom, moderator. Lucas, other Lucas. So we got a Lucas Stip and a Lucas Delatire. Boom. What's that? 3. Rado was 4, but Rado says, sorry, I won't be here. I need to go practice because. Okay, Rado, you are excused, but you do not get a moderator. Dirt Racer X, boom, and Neverender, number 5, boom. All right, guys. So what I would really appreciate it if you moderator guys would use the comments and help me answer the questions. If someone types one in and you know a good answer, like just type that answer in there. Help everyone out. Let's just dude, the whole point of the Dougster Bob community is to grow BMX by making it fun and easy to understand. So just help each other out and be good people. We got Blake in here, guys. It was Blake's birthday yesterday, so tell Blake happy birthday. I already said it in the chat, so well, I mean it's late birthday. Happy late birthday, Blake. Experimenting with Angel is here. What's up? I saw him last live. We got Jeff, we got Matt, we got who else? Ozzy Ruzi, which apparently is German. I saw two Germans going off and speaking German to each other, and I really wish I knew German because, dude, that's such a crazy language. Like, look, Ozzy says, "Doc, das ich mir schon 187 gang." How did I do? I bet that sounds awful with the mic. Anyway, guys, let's see. Is there any questions? I'm scrolling down. I'm scrolling through everything. Aiden XB121 says best thing to watch on a Friday afternoon. I really appreciate that, man. I always tell this story that the first live that I did, I was like, I don't know if anyone's going to show up. I think this was before I even had 1,000 subscribers, and it's just grown so fast. Everyone, you guys love the lives, and I love doing them because it's like, we're in Corona. We can't really do too much. So it's like, oh, we can hang out and do this live and get some questions answered. I saw a really solid. Oh, Lucas knows some German. Awesome. Awesome. Oh, Neverender was in here, guys. And I was, one thing, he made a playlist and I think he designed the graphic for it. It's a hefty playlist. I'm going to share it. Let me copy the link. I'm going to share it in here. It's for he designed it for riding BMX. I'm going to share it in here. It's a pretty solid playlist. I don't really listen to metal, but it gets your head banging for sure. So I could imagine if you're having a hefty sesh, you plug that on and you're going crazy. Okay, so here's a question from Thomas Palco. He says, "What are the best size tires for 14, almost 15-year-old?" Thomas, I mean, assume you're riding a 20-inch wheel bike. If you're not, I mean, then obviously the best size tires, whichever size bike you're riding. If you're riding an 18-inch tires, but I'm going to assume you're riding a 20-inch bike and you're talking about the width of the tire. Personally, I think 2.2 is pretty general, and that's probably the best thing to go with. If you like wider tires, which I ride 2.35, I definitely like the wider tires. then go with that. The thing is, with the really narrow tires, you don't have as much rolling resistance and you also don't have as much grip. So it's a lot easier to go fast and keep up the speed. So for example, if I ride my demolition hammerheads, they're really knobby tires, and I say I take 3 pedals in a parking lot, I'll just coast and eventually I'll slow down. And that's because the rolling resistance slowed me down. If I ride something with like momentums that don't have as much resistance and I pedal and coast a lot farther because there's not as much tread, bringing them down. So that's the same thing that happens with more narrow tires. When they're really narrow, there's not as much rolling resistance. So you're going to roll a lot farther. Uh, but if you're riding dirt, obviously you want big, fat, knobby tires to grip the dirt. And it's really a preference thing. So I hope that helps a little bit. Personally, I used to ride 2.2 and I've stepped up to 2.35. The 2.2 gives you a little more maneuverability. I guess that's a good way to put it, because the wider tires, you can't carve as fast, you can't cut corners as fast. So you have to really think about that. And I mean, I think I'd recommend going with 2.2 and getting used to it. And then once you feel that out, see if you like the wider tires a little more. The wider tires are becoming more of a street thing. Good question. Good question. Gognan. Oh, here, I'm going to start pinning the comments. Gogan. I have one. What bike do you think I should get? I read these comments directly how they're put. So if you guys put a typo, that's how I read it. What bike do you think I should get? The Cult Control or the We the People Justice 2021? So it's funny. So I filmed all of the We the People reviews for the fourth time with this setup. So it looks really good, but I'm editing them right now so they can go out over the next couple months while I'm busy working on other stuff. And I'm working on the Justice, editing it, and I really like the Justice, but there's a couple issues. One, it's over 500 bucks and it's not even full chromoly. It has a single wall rim in front. Now, the Cult Control is also tri-moly, but it's a lot cheaper. So if you're going to spend the same amount of money on the Justice, look at something like the Kink Switch is 500, comes with pegs, full chromoly, double wall rims. What else? The Kink Whip is less than 500, full chromoly double wall rims, but it's more general. It's not necessarily specified for street. The Colt Control is a solid bike too, but if you're at that point where you feel like you're going to be riding for a little bit longer and eventually learn like 360s and bar spins and ride a lot more than a lot of people, you should just step up and get a fully chromoly bike that's mid-level. So yeah, I mean, out of the two, I think the Justice is technically a little bit better because it has some more aftermarket parts, but it also has a really, really, really responsive geometry. That chain stays like 12.5. The head tube angle is a steep 76. The forks are 22 millimeters. Like, see, that's all fresh on my brain from the review. But it's really responsive. So it's for like super technical riding, where the Colt Control is going to bigger geometry and it's going to be a little more flowy. But still, I'd say step up the quality and just get full chromoly. Blake learned how to do good toboggans. Good job, man. What else do we have here, guys? This is already a good live. We're up 8 minutes and had some super solid questions. Blake used to have a wrench. Yeah, so I explained the whole wrench thing, right, guys? That the first 5 people, when the video starts, are going to get the wrench, and that's how it's going to go from now on. So at the end, my wrench people will probably lose their wrenches unless you guys are super helpful in the comments, because that does help me out. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm still playing with different ideas. Yeah. Doug, who is your favorite street rider riders? Garrett Reynolds, no question. Garrett Reynolds is my favorite street rider, hands down. That guy is just absolutely crazy. My Frosty's melting. But yeah, no, Garrett is crazy. Dennis Anderson is one of my favorite riders overall. And Chad Curley's really good too. That's a tough question, man. I was in San Diego a few months ago and I was riding. I went to the Ocean Beach skate park and I got there and I walk up and there's Chad Curley. I was like, whoa. And so I'm riding around. I go to the other side by the bowl and like I see this tall dude. I'm like, "Yo, what's up?" He's like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" And like I stopped and I double took because it was Dennis Enarson. I was tripping because he's literally probably my favorite rider. He's it's more because he's really balanced. He's not necessarily street rider. So it'd be between Garrett and Dennis for sure. Oh, with Angel says, "Dude, what do you think about pull spokes and are they better than J spokes?" So what he's talking about is like the straight spokes, and Tree is really popular for having the design where J spoke is what most spokes are. The hubs, the spokes go straight through and straight up into the rim. I haven't spent too much time researching it. I think where they're at right now, it's not the technology is not fully developed. And what I mean by that is like the J spoke design has been around forever. So companies are continuously optimizing it and figuring out new ways to make it better, stronger, cheaper, all that stuff. I think eventually to more straight spokes. And once more companies get on board developing that, they're going to be able to be a lot cheaper, a lot stronger, and a lot better. But whereas just like what one, two, three companies are working on it right now, it's not going to be as optimized as it could be. It's going to be the same thing with the planetary. So look at like how the planetary free coaster, how Free Night was the first company to kind of figure that out and work on it. Now, BSD jumped on board, and I think We the People even is working on something similar. But as more companies start working on that kind of technology, it's going to get a lot better. It's going to get a lot cheaper, and overall, just for us as riders, we're going to get a lot better experience with it. And the straight spoke design has been something that has kind of been overlooked. So right now, I'd say J spoke because there's more development on it. Eventually, I think the straight spoke has the potential to be a lot better, but people would have to really start working on it. Frank Anderson. What's up, Frank? Thank you. I think I've seen you in the live before, man. Thanks for coming, hanging out, and asking those good questions. Let's see. He says, advice on best complete cassette rim I can buy. My Williams came with a free coaster, and I kind of want to have a cassette also. Frank, this is a solid question. I think a lot of people have this issue where it's nice to have a free coaster, but it's also nice to have a cassette and be able to switch it out when you feel like riding a cassette. So here's the thing. I was gonna say the Ezra free coaster, but Ezra has a cassette, or Ezra. I'm gonna say the Ezra free coaster, but that's not a cassette. We're talking about cassettes. I think they have a cassette. What my recommendation for you would be, hold on. Hold on. My recommend something kind of cheap. Not, I mean, I wouldn't get like a Profile Elite or something really expensive like that, especially because you're not thinking about switching over completely, but you just kind of want to alternate. The free coaster that comes on the Williams isn't the best. So having that cassette and alternating between them will make sure that both of them last a little bit longer. I mean, if you have a bunch of money, get a Profile Mini for sure. That's the best cassette, hands down. I mean, for the price, the Profile Elite's probably better. Colony Wasp is really good. But for the price, the Profile Mini's super solid. I grind with mine and I've had it for over like 3 years and it's still going strong. Um, but I would look at something a little bit cheaper. So look at something like maybe a Salt cassette. You could get a complete rim for 150 with a cassette, or a Mission, something like that. That way it's you're not spending a whole bunch of money on something that you're only going to ride like a little bit. Does that make sense? Oh, Blake is asking about bar spins. All right. I use bar spins were my dream trick. Like I'm drinking this, I'm drinking this. I got Blake says, "What is a tip to get more comfy on sending bar spins? Because I can do them, I have landed, but I just can't send them all the time." So if Barrick, my friend, ever watches this, I always go up to him at the park and I'm like, "Do a bar spin, like first try," because a- it's a thing that I do. He does. A lot of people do is we hop, we go to send the bar, and then we just don't actually throw it. And so If you have any friends, Blake, tell them to make you send the bar spin. If you don't, there's some guys that I know from Albuquerque, and if they go to send a trick but they don't actually send it, the other guy gets to slap their arm. So like just as hard as they can, just smack the arm, and then by doing that, you're gonna be like, dude, I better throw this, or I'm gonna get get my arm smacked. Something like that. It's all a mental thing, right? It's not the fact that you can't do it, especially like you said, if you've landed it before. If you if you can do it, we get caught up in the mental thing and we're not thinking about what we're doing, we're thinking about a bunch of other things. So if you have something like that, like getting your arm slapped, you're like, ooh, I better send it, and you can overcome that mental deal. Pierce, what's up, Pierce? So Pierce says, what are some good ground tricks to learn after 180? Ooh, that's a good question. That's a good question. So let's see. You can 180. I'm gonna assume you can fakie. Always, 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 always practice bunny hops. If you're bored, if you're not doing anything, just practice bunny hops and get really good at bunny hopping. The second one I'd say would be 360 tire taps, 360s, nose pivot 180s, foot jams. Just hop around, foot jamming in your front yard or whatever. Foot jam whip. X up rides are a small one that a lot of people do. And yeah, I think that's kind of a lot, huh? So yeah, let's see. Three tap. Fakie manual, backlash if you're getting real crazy, if you have a free coaster. So yeah, all those would be, dude, that's like a whole 3 months of learning tricks right there that I just yelled out at you. Aussie Roozy says G turn maybe. That's a solid advice. Um Rado, what's up? Rado, you said you weren't gonna make it. Here you are in the chat. You fooled me. Dirt Racer says, I just put the 2.5 Cinema Williams tires on. Doesn't feel that much bigger than 2.4 that came off. Dude, 2.5 is huge. That's absolutely crazy. My friend in El Paso, Sabaeth, rides the Stranger, or he had the Stranger. I think they were 2.5 or something. And it's like, dude, that thing just constantly rubs on the frame. So, one thing with the tire width, though, is your rim width does matter. So, rims come in certain widths. Oh, God. And the Stranger XL rim is something like 2.4. It's super wide. Whereas I ride the Sun Rhino Light rims and they're 2.125 or something. They're not as wide as some of those other rims. And when you have a wider rim, your tire, regardless of the width, is going to pop out to that width. It's going to be a lot wider. Even if the tires say a 2.3, you're riding a 2.4 rim, the beads are going to stretch. You're going to have a lower tire now because it's compensating for that stretch, but it's going to still be wider. So if you ride the tire width the same as the rim width, you're going to get exactly what the tire says. But if your rim width's a little different, then your tires are going to either be wider or more narrower based on that. And not many people know that. So that could kind of help you out when you're buying tires or rims. Oh, we just skipped all the way to the bottom. I see Jeff here in the chat. I see Jared. What's up, guys? God, there's so many comments. I feel like I wonder if we're gonna beat the world record that we have so far is 700 comments in a live. That was a crazy one. I wonder if we can ever beat that world record. I just got hold on. That was a disaster. I just got frosty all over my nose. All right, I just skipped to the bottom. We got Lucas is the manual champion at the skate park. Yo, good job, Lucas. Okay, Dirt Racer had another tire question. I'm just popping around and looking for good questions. So, what pressure do you run for street versus park versus dirt? Okay, that's a really good question too. That one I'm gonna say is all preference. I ride 80 psi no matter what, whether I'm riding street, whether I'm riding park, whether I'm riding dirt. You can. A lot of street people lower their PSI. So a lot of my street friends ride closer to 40 to 60, anywhere from there. Park riders that I know would ride 90 to 110. And because the harder tires do that rolling resistance thing I talked about, cuts back on the rolling resistance because the tire doesn't flex. I'm trying to find a good example. But like when the tire's on the ground, your weight on it is going to flex it and it's going to spread the tire out over more surface on the ground. So when your pressure is super, super hard, that tire doesn't flex at all. Therefore, you don't have as much rolling resistance. So people riding street like that it flexes and it gives them more grip. And it also takes the impact off your wrists when you're doing big drops and stuff like that. So generally, I mean, I ride the same personally, no matter what, but generally you're going to ride a little bit less in street, a little bit harder tire in park and dirt. Dude, I say a harder tire in dirt because you don't want your tire compressing when you're coming off that lip. If you're expecting to pop off that lip and it sends you wherever you're expecting and that tire compresses, you just lost a lot of your pop and that could kill you. So yeah. Um Isaac says 80 PSI. That's really hard. I ride 60. Yeah, no, I 80 or 90. I just like how it feels. Blake has to go for Spanish. Blake, adios. Huh. Um, Jared is not a fan of the wide tires. He got 2.35s in the front and it's perfect. 2.5 is dude, I totally agree. Now, I like when I was first switching over, I'd ride 2.2 in the back and 2.3 in the front. And the reason I did that wider tire in the front is because it gave me less clearance on my forks so that my foot jams were a lot easier and it didn't hurt my. Do you think you could go, bro? Ozzy, good question, Ozzy. I talk about this sometimes. Um, He says, "Oh, Ozzy also left a good comment on one of my videos and said you should do more riding videos. Let's see. I would really like to see you riding. Like you could do games of bike with other people, YouTubers, or just kind of vlog your BMX riding days, if that makes any sense. I do like that idea. It's just so hard to find one somebody to just film. I like my friends and I just like to ride, and it's hard to dedicate just filming time. And then it just takes so much time to edit everything and get it all together. Like I've talked about before, is streaming lives. I tried to do one, it didn't work. I saw there's people waiting for it, but it wasn't working. I'm going to try and figure that out because that might be a better way to do it. But yeah, so then his question is, Doug, do you think you could ever go pro? That is a very good question. And something I've thought about a lot. At one point, I mean, ever since I started riding when I was like 13, that was definitely my dream was to go pro. And I spent a lot of time working on it and just trying to get better and better so that eventually that could happen. BMX is really hard. And now you have people like there's a kid that was in my cabin at Woodward named Energizer Benny. And God, I think he's super young. He rides an 18-inch bike. Homie can flip one footer, 360 bar spin. He he's probably almost better than me. He's absolutely crazy at that age. And then you look at people like Logan Martin, and people are just like starting really young, getting really good. It's hard. It's very hard. Now I think if I didn't work and I dedicated 4 or 5 hours a day to riding and training, I think definitely. I mean, anyone could. You just have to. Thing is that I don't necessarily have the time to put into the effort that I think it would. I don't have the time. Yeah, that I think it would take, and it's not my primary focus anymore. I'll share a story with you guys. So in 2019, I was at Woodward second time, and I was getting really good. I mean, I felt like I was getting pretty good. And from there, I decided, okay, there's these contests in the UK, the Backyard Jam. They're doing this again. I'm going to figure out how to go. I didn't have very much money, but a lot of people helped me out so that I could get there. I fortunately had family over there that I could stay with, and I ended up going to a few of the different contests. And despite thinking I was ready, they're amateur contests too. There was some definitely pro guys in the contest, but it was a good experience. Anyway, I went and I think the first one I placed like I want to say 20 something out of 40 in street and high 30s out of 40 in park. The second one, I did a lot better. I almost qualified for finals. Um, so after a few, I did okay, but not what I was expecting. I definitely thought I was a lot better than I was. In contests, there's a whole different thing. Like your mental state and your emotional state really comes into play. Like there's so much more to just riding. You have to be able to control yourself. You have to be able to stay calm and be consistent. When I'd get anxious or nervous, I'd mess up on my tricks and it just goes downhill from there. So to be honest, like that was a eye-opening thing for me. I was like, oh my God, I thought I was really good. And like compared to some of these guys, there was like a 16-year-old kid that did a flip triple bar, and I'm like, "What is going on?" So so anyway, long story short, it would be really hard. If I put in the effort, maybe I could get to the level of competing, but, it's not my main focus right now, so probably not. I have a lot more fun doing this with you guys and just growing the sport that way and riding when I can. So yeah, for me, that is where I'm at with it. But that's a super good question. I would love to. I'm still going to keep competing when competitions start going up in this next year. Like I'll travel for it. That's kind of one of the reasons I started Dougster Bob is so that I could have money to travel and compete because that's super expensive and really hard to do. So yeah, that's something I'm working on. But yeah, good question, man. Aaron Laird. We have the same last name. We're not related. Speaking of England, Aaron is in the UK. He says, "I've been looking at Stranger or Mission Rear. Do you rate any of them, Doug?" Um, I would definitely go with Stranger over Mission, just because as an aftermarket brand, Stranger's a lot better than Mission. But yeah, no, I don't have any reviews on either of those. I am sorry. Rado's talking about Miatas. Oh my god, I turned my sound off like 44 times. It keeps beeping. I'll be filming a video and then that'll go off. I'll get an email or something. It's ding. Bro, I get so mad. Anyway. Jump off trailers. Okay, Rado says, Doug, can you jump of trailers when having Trimolly? Can you jump off trailers? Um, yeah, dude, go crazy. I think here's the thing though, like I always talk about this, and I saw a nice little heated debate in a Facebook group. One guy was saying that, wow, I feel misled. Like I definitely didn't read the information. I thought my bike was full chromoly, but I only read full chromoly down tube. And it was one of the Sunday bikes, probably the anyway, one of the Sunday bikes. And one of the comments was like, one, they're ripping this guy apart. They're like, dude, you're not good enough to need full chromoly. Two, most riders aren't good enough to need full chromoly. Three, like one, that's mean, but two, I totally disagree with that because yes, while look, most bikes are going to last you a year, regardless of your skill level. You are gonna like if I jumped on a mid-level bike right now or a beginner level bike, it would probably last me a year or so, or 8 months. But after that time, like things start to break and bend. And so yes, I you can do whatever you want with Trimolly, but it's gonna shorten that lifespan, Rado, for sure. So especially with drops and spins, that's the biggest thing. If it's a tri-molly frame, chances are your bars are not full chromoly. If your bars are not full chromoly, can you guys see this? Shouts out to Jeff for the finger bike. These little handles right here, where they carve, where they turn into the part that you grab on, bends. That's what happens with tensile steel. So big drops are going to bend that. Your fork legs are going to be high tensile steel. What happens with that? They bend. So there's just a lot of things to it. I mean, like I said, regardless, it's going to last for 8 months to a year. But the problem with that is, should you have to buy a new bike every 8 months? I don't think so. I think you should buy a bike that lasts you longer than that. So that's where I go with it. But yeah, okay, good question, Rado. I'm glad you're here. And I mean, Rado, you should go ride if it's going to rain, dude. I all Somebody's ringing the doorbell now. Oh my god, this is the worst day ever. Anyway, God, I was going somewhere good with that. Oh, you guys, like, regardless, if you guys miss the live, I'll never be mad at you. It's all good. Like, I get it. Life happens. Especially though, if you go out to ride, then go ahead, go ride. That is way more important. I totally understand. RLDKA. What's up? So he says, Doug, what was your hardest trick to learn or hardest to learn trick? Ooh, that's a good question. My hardest trick that I've ever done, or like the hardest one for me to learn, I would actually say it's one that's not that hard. Hold on, I'm lowering these. It's actually a trick that's not technically that hard. So, what happens when you progress? BMX has a really steep learning curve, really steep. So, it's like, it's kind of easy at first. You learn some basics, but after that, it gets really, 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 really hard to learn those harder tricks. But once you do, you've got the foundation. What I mean by that is like once you learn bar spins, once you learn tail whips, once you learn 360s, you have that foundation. So from there, it's actually easier to learn 360 bar spins than it was just to learn a bar spin. So for me, I mean, the hardest one I think I battled with was 720s or tail whips. Tail whips, guys, when I talk about in my videos about setting goals, that was one like for me every single day, no matter what, that I would ride, I would throw at least 10 whips. And maybe I got close, maybe I dead sailored, but I would try. And it literally took me from when I started to when I landed my first one, took me 2 years. And that's embarrassing to me, but it took me that long. And then once I landed one, it was not consistent. It took me another probably 6 months of doing them consistently. Maybe I'd only land 1 a session. Out of the 10 or 20 that I'd try, I'd only land 1. It took me another 6 months or so before I could actually get them somewhat consistently. And then from there, you're learning how to do it, not just fly out, but air over a jump, like, that gets even harder. So for me, that was definitely the hardest one. It took me so much time. So much time. Beef BMX. Speaking of tail whips, all right. Any tips on tail whips? Been trying them for 3 years and landed maybe four. Dude, exactly the same story. Same. COVID slowed my practice down. I have a spoon in there. I have a spoon and I should just get the spoon. Okay. Anyway, super good question. Blake or Beef BMX. I hate my life. Okay. In bike school, we go super in depth on the tail whip. And the biggest thing that I realized with doing tail whips was where one, where your wrists are with the whip, and two, where your chest is. So your wrist, when you're doing the whip, have to be way low. And in order for them to be way low, your chest has to be way over top of it. And I would look at some of mine, and when I'm kicking the whip, my hands are down by my knees or even by my ankles. And that's because my chest is so far forward over the bike that the whip is happening down here. And the reason it has to be really low below you is so that you can get your feet on. If your whip's up here and you're tail whipping, your feet are like you'd have to go like this to catch it, and that's a bad idea. So you want to keep it under you so that your feet land on the pedals and that you can stop the frame. So, I mean, that's going to be my biggest advice to do that. Pop out of the quarter, throw your chest forward, and throw your wrist down. And that's going to help you a lot. So yeah, but like I said, man, super in-depth video in bike school. We'll be talking about that very soon because we're getting close to finished, but I shouldn't be talking about it right now. It's a secret. Okay, anyway, Jared, I've been focusing on manuals and manual 180s. I've kind of fallen in love with the manual until the other day. Oh, wait. Jared and Jeff both have a green J next to their name. That's a never mind. Okay. Um, Jared, manuals are super fun. It's one of the few tricks that I could do early on, and I just kept doing them. No matter what, I'd always try to manual. And look, Lucas, same thing. Manuals are awesome. It's funny because they're a really hard trick to understand how your balance shifts the manual. And like it's constantly like a teeter totter, right? We went crazy in depth in this on bike school, but like, look, imagine this is a teeter totter and you're like this. Okay. To keep this manual like this, you're constantly shifting your weight from out here. The farther your weight is, the steeper your manual goes, to up here which drops it down. So the more over the tire your butt is, the lower your front end goes, the farther back, the higher it goes. And you're just balancing like this to keep it in place. Some people that balance clicks, and for some people, their brain can't comprehend it and they cannot figure out like either they're doing it opposite or what. I don't know what it is, but some people have a really good time with it. Some people not so good. Oh, Rado, would you rather a Tesla or a Sky? Rado, I think you're on the wrong live. You should be going on in the car lives. Tesla for sure. That's my goal. I'm gonna have a Tesla by next year, and I will send you guys pictures of it. I love BMX. What's up? I love BMX. He is in school. Yikes, bro. You better pay attention. And Jeff says, "What's up with everyone feeding for those wrenches? What the heck do they do?" Jeff, apparently with the wrench, they have a lot of power over this live. No one's real. I mean, a few people kind of abuse it, and then they don't have their wrench anymore. But for me, it's like I love it because I can just kind of recognize people who are here and who hang out and who are big parts of the community. Jeff, you had a wrench too. But like I said, I wiped the wrenches from everyone, and now the first 5 get the wrench, and that's it. Experimenting with Angel, had to go to lunch, bro. What did you eat for lunch? When you come back, you'll have to let me know. Wait, okay, hold up. I got to figure this out. Okay, wait. I'm lost now, but we're talking something about Panza and a game of bike with somebody. Um, oh, it looks like there's some really, really good Rado's either talking about the Bethleigh Flip or Nissan Skyline. There's some good comments here, but I'm behind, so I can't figure out what's going on. Dang, oh well. You guys, somebody will have to let me know what's going on. Isaac said something about the game of bike between him and Panza, and everything he did, Panza had to do switch. Oh, maybe you're talking about the Caden guy. Okay. Um, Okay, Jared, this is a good point. Jared says you break the bike more from falling and bailing and bending than other things. If you're smooth, your bike will last longer if you're smooth. Yes, that is a very, very good point. I can remember, guys, what biggest tip for you if you like your bike and you want it to last, don't get mad and throw your bike. For whatever reason, it's gonna break. I promise it's gonna break. That was me, like, one, crashing sometimes, but more so, like, I would try to land something and I couldn't, so I'd just throw it, and, like, I'd yeet that thing, and I'd get to it, and my my wheel would be bent, my crank arm would be broken, whatever it may be. I definitely broke more bikes by doing that, and I have since quit, I'm clean from throwing my bike for bike appreciates it, but definitely that's going to break more, like Jeff said, that's going to break way more than just riding hard on a lower quality bike. But to that point, most beginner riders are very sketchy. It takes years to actually smoothen up your riding and clean it up. So I would also say it's pretty important to have a solid bike. Neverender getting back in BMX after 25 years. That's crazy. Oh, look. Okay, that's why I was saying that. Any tips for someone who's starting BMX at age 32? RLDKA. Yeah, man. So I am 24, but I feel 32. Like I woke up this morning, dude. Really, this morning I didn't get up till 7. And my whole back, like I don't know what it is. I think it was from drinking a monster last night. I don't know. I'm incredibly sore and stiff, and I didn't even ride. But once you're older, that happens to you. So for you guys, one, any of my tips for getting better is going to apply more so to older riders getting back into it. And the biggest thing I talk about a lot is stretching and exercise. When I was in Wales, I met up with a group in Cardiff, and I think they call themselves like Cardiff over 40 or something like that. Scott Hamlin's a part of the group, and there's a bunch of just older guys who get on their bikes once a week. They meet up at one of the skate parks and they just ride over 40. All these guys are over 40, and riding with them was so much fun because they're just the coolest guys. But for them, they're like, dude, we just do this to kind of stay in shape and to just have fun, get away from like our kids, our wife, and all that stuff. But for them, it was like, take it easy, right? You can get to the point where you're riding really hefty and going super hard, but take it easy at first because you don't want to get hurt. And like I'm talking about, when you get hurt, you're going to be a lot more sore than you were when you were 16. So, so yeah, drink water, don't get hurt, stretch, take it easy, and just have fun. Yeah, I think that's about it. I'm gonna I'm gonna make a post eventually, and then I'll do a video to complement it or go with it about. So I have tips for taller riders. It'll be tips for older riders. Can I say that? Tips for older riders, something like that. But I'm gonna get these tips by asking other riders what works for them because I'm not that old, and I want something that actually helps you guys out a lot. I skipped to the bottom, but we got some good questions here. Jared, bro, you took my wrench. I know, Jared. I took all the wrenches um, because like I said at the beginning, there's people in there that don't come to the lives anymore with wrenches. And what I'm doing now is the first five people, maybe I'll do 10, first 5 or 10 people will get a wrench for the live. So you got to be quick, man. You got to be quick. Jeff started back because, dude, the pandemic got so many older people back into it. And I mean, was it because you guys like didn't have to work as much anymore? You were working from home, or like, I'm genuinely curious for you guys that got back into it like last year. Why? What got you back into it? BMX overall boomed. It was crazy. So I was reading, hold on. I was careful that time. Um, I was going my Gmail storage is full. Like it's got 25 out of 15 gigabytes. So I was going through my Google Drive and deleting stuff. And I had kind of like journal entries in there from 2017. And it's funny because in one, I was like, my website got 50 views today. And now it's like, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds of views a day, plus the YouTube and everything. But it's funny to read that because I was like, one day I want 50,000. And but the point is, it boomed in the pandemic. So not just older guys, it was like newer guys in general, just researching BMX and getting into it. And I'm really curious as to why. Like why the pandemic? The pandemic shut down our skate park. So I had a tough time riding in general. Nick Randall, hold on, hold on. Oh my God, I haven't pinned any of those comments I was talking about. Nick says, "Oh yeah, did you make the sticker idea I had where it was a tire tread with Dougster Bob graffiti?" No, I have not yet. I have it written down still. I looked at stickers, but Sticker Mule wants to rip me off for stickers. That's where I got. Oh wait, that's where I got those from. And like a sheet of 10 was like $50. And I'm like, no way, I'm not doing that. You can get them cheaper if I buy like $300 worth. I could get a whole bunch, but I'm waiting on it. Still no stickers. But what I'm going to do is have it set up so that anyone who does a free bike recommendation gets an email that has 100% off coupon for a sticker sheet through Dougster Bob, shop.dougsterbob.com. And but I'm not ready for that yet. I am broke, but soon, one day. And I got you a free sticker, Nick, when I do it. I promise. Okay. Fueled Productions. What other bike is on par with the Kink Whip XL? They've sold out everywhere. None. Yeah, no. I mean, the Kink Whip is definitely one of the best bang for your buck bikes, hands down. I would say the Kink Switch is pretty good. Um, but for that price to quality ratio, nothing. The Devotion is very similar in terms of like 21-inch top tube and long geometry, full chromoly double wall rims, but it's I say it's like $100 more. It used to be last year it was 500. Now it's like 540 or 560. But the devotion's probably the closest for sure. Um, let's see. Any good there's so many good questions here. Beef BMX. So this is on the topic of that beat, man. This is on the topic of older riders getting back into it. Beef BMX says I'd recommend definitely getting pads and a good helmet. Shin guards are a must. So I just ordered a helmet and I have fused shin and knee pads. Those are There's a couple different things that the safety gear does. Is one, it prevents you from really messing yourself up, but two, it does add an extra layer of confidence. So you're not going to be as scared to throw no-footed cans if you have shin guards. You're like, you know what? If I slip my pedal, it's okay. So that is a very good suggestion, Beef BMX. Very good. Marvin, this is what Marvin says about it. Guys, you guys are so helpful. Awesome. Hey, we're at 17 likes, and that is a terrible number. Can we, one person just make it 18? Marvin says, I would just cruise around to warm your body up and get used to the bike to build control. Okay, that's a good point. That applies to everyone. So when you first get to the park, guys, don't go sending some crazy tricks. Your body is not warmed up. You're not stretched out. You're gonna get hurt. So not just for old people, do not just go send wild tricks. Always what I always do is I get there, I stretch a little bit, and then I pop in and just flow around for about 10 minutes, and that warms up my body. So that's good, very good, Marvin, for everyone, not just those older riders. Fat Burger, what's up, Fat Burger? Glad you are back. Welcome back. Bad Intention says, "Is Eastern Wolf Dog BMX bike good?" Bro, I have never heard of it. Let's look. I saw his name is Robbie Taylor. Robbie Taylor. I think he's kind of running the Eastern as a team manager right now. We're kind of friends on Instagram, and I've heard rumors Eastern is doing make a big comeback. So Eastern, when I started riding, was super, super, super popular. I had an Eastern Trail Digger. I wanted the Eastern Grim Reaper so bad, and then they kind of died off for about what 3, 4, 5 years, and now they're coming back, and it does look like they're doing a pretty good job. The Eastern Wolf Dog looks a little bit dinky with really short bars like that. However, and what's that sprocket size? Um, Looks a little bit dinky. Says it's full chromoly frame, full chromoly fork. What we got here? Not bad, not bad. It's got a really long chainstay. The top tube's 20.75. Um, overall it looks okay. It looks pretty. Whoa, 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 whoa! Red flag, red flag, red flag. Okay, $540 bike, same price as the Cult Devotion, guys. Red flag. Full chromoly frame, same as the Cult Devotion, same as the Kink Whip. Chromoly fork. Now I'm gonna almost guarantee this is just chromoly steer tube. Oh no, no, no. Full chromoly. Okay. Bars. High tensile steel. Oh my god. Why? It's a $540 bike. Um, that's super annoying. Anyway, no. If it was under five, you could get away with it, but for that price, I don't approve. It's $100 more than the Kink Whip. Full chromoly, Kink Whip's full chromoly everything. $40 more than the Kink Whip Switch. Kink Switch is full chromoly everything. Same price as the Cult Devotion. Cult Devotion is also full chromoly everything. Red flag. It's also the front hub is loose ball. It's not even fully sealed. Oh my god, what? Robbie, I love you, but oh no. Anyway, okay, guys, I got to get away before I have an anxiety attack. Don't get the wolf dog. Do not recommend. Oh god, I'm stressing out. All right, guys, I hope there's some good questions in here. Um Oh, I guess Daniel said something about tire PSI, but Dirt Racer, super helpful guy, said that earlier I said I run 80. Front and rear, I do run 80. Even if it's at 70, I can really feel it. Like I can feel my tricks getting sucked away, losing that speed and everything. So Neverender, what is this Neverender? What are you sharing in here? Let's see what Neverender put in. Oh, click on the video you shared. Oh, no, 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 no. Anyway, I'm sure it's a good video. You guys, if you guys want like good inspiration stuff, look at the Stephen Murray story. Um, I think they even made a little movie on it. Hold on, I'm gonna find it. It's like a really, really sad, inspiring story. This guy was way good back in the day, and he got paralyzed from a double flip during a contest. So, oh my God, shut up! Hold on. Oh, anyway, super crazy and like sad, but he's been living his best life with it despite everything. But here, I think this is the video. I'm gonna share it. God, that was Grammarly ad, super annoying. um, you like Beth? Rado, okay, there's a lot of good questions, guys. This is a good live. 10 out of 10. You guys are awesome. Thank you. Oh, and you guys got it to 23 likes, which is also not the best number, but I'll take it over 17. I appreciate you all. Yeah, the kink whip mat is like 440. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Okay, Rado says, Doug, do you like Beffley? If I win the lottery, I buy you one. Rado, I don't know if I like Beffley. I've looked at it a couple times, but thank you for the bike, man. I'll take it. I appreciate it. You're awesome. All right, Shizuko, where are you from? First of all, you I like we got German, we got UK, we got American, we got um Japanese, Chinese. I don't know. I see your little language next to your name. Where are you from? First of all, what do you think about the Kink Gap Free Coaster 2021? So there's like two bikes sub $500 that come with a free coaster. And I think it's the Trust Free Coaster and the Gap Free Coaster. You can't really get a free coaster on many bikes under 5. So the Gap is one that I would only recommend just because it's tri-molly. So, like, if you're considering the Gap, I say, look, just step it up and get the Kink Whip, full chromoly. It's a little bit better quality with for just a little bit more. But now the Gap Free Coaster is a little different because you're not going to get a solid free coaster bike unless you go up a few hundred more dollars. So I think that's a great choice. Overall, the Gap is pretty solid. It's a very good quality for the price. And that's what I look at a lot. It's like, what's the quality to price ratio for the Gap? It's very good. Um, but I do say if you can get up to a little higher quality for a little bit more money, but if you need the free coaster, Gap Free Coaster is very solid. Sebastian says, "What do you think about Panza's new frame?" Sebastian, I have not even looked at it. I saw what was the one? Is it Corey Walsh's new frame? I saw something like that on Instagram, but that is about it. Let's see. Rob says, "Love the channel. Just ordered the Kink Whip XL on your recommendation. I'm 45. I haven't ridden in years. Here goes nothing." Rob, we were just talking about uh, those guys over 40 riding. It's awesome to get back into it. And the newer bikes, here's something that's changed since you've rode. The geometry on the newer bikes is a little higher quality and bigger overall. So I think it's going to be a lot easier for you to progress, even despite getting back into it, than it was for you to progress a long time ago when you used to ride. Dude, I'm so glad you love the channel because look, like I said, my mission, grow the sport by making it fun and easy to understand. We just got Rob into BMX because of Dougster Bob and the recommendations. So, dude, that's what it's all about. You are awesome. So, something funny about that, he bought it from Source. I don't know if you did or not, but on Source, I have on the recommendations, I use affiliate links. And so Source should pay me, it's like only 2% per bike I sell. Okay. And I told him, I said, look, man, I'm selling bikes. Like, lots of people have told me I bought this because of you. And I'm like, awesome. But I'm not getting any commission off of it. And I'm like, anyway, I'm like, dude, it's broken. He's like, no, it's not. And then he ghosted me. So I don't like Source right now, but oh well, oh well. I'm glad you're into BMX, man. And yeah, Aiden, what's up, Aiden? I want a bar pad and the Cult tires. Okay, Aiden. How is history? Are you in history right now? You guys are funny. I like know your schedules. Um, there was a super good question here by Robs. I wanted to find it. Oh, okay, Jeff. Let's talk about Jeff's question though. Jeff is thinking about getting a D&D airbag. How awesome are these things and how much will it help me with my tricks? Jeff, one, where are you at? Because when you get it, I want to come ride it. Two, if I could get an airbag, my life would be complete. Jeff, they're super nice. So I have a friend in Phoenix that does stunt shows, and he bought an airbag to use with his box jump in the stunt shows, and just so that the guys can train on it. And so I got to ride it with him, and it is so nice. There's one thing you need to keep in mind with it though, is if you don't get a resi to go over it, when you land it, it kind of sucks up your and might like buck you over the bars if you get the box landing style. So he got a resi over it and it makes it a lot easier because when you crash, you slide on the resi and the airbag takes the impact. Whereas just the airbag, you kind of get caught up in it and tumble down and stuff like that. But it's so, so, so helpful. So he's actually mid 40s, late 40s, and he rides the airbag too with us. He does 360 X ups and he was trying tail whips. So he hit this, it's a big kicker too. He hit this kicker and did a tail whip. And earlier I was talking about staying over it. He was not over it. He's back here and he just he just flies over like this. Yeah, and just lands on his back in the landing. He was perfectly fine. So yeah, no, like for progressing wise, having an airbag and then getting comfortable on it, it's gonna help you out so, so, so much. But I think they're like 4 grand. Um, Worth it for sure. Because I mean, I don't know. I think it's worth it for sure, especially if you have a good community that'll pay you to run it. You also need a generator though, I think. A generator if you don't have a plug-in where you set it up. But if you have a good community, say, hey, look, I had to pay for this $10 to come ride or five, whatever you want to do. Or you're super cool, you let everyone ride. I'd probably charge people. Nah, I don't know. I probably wouldn't. If I lived in a big town, for sure. But where I'm at and I know everybody, probably not. But anyway, very good deal. Jared loved the trail digger. Jared, I'm jealous that you had a trail digger. I'm just looking for some good questions. Um, Rado, I feel you, man. Rado's life savings are 20 euros. I think that's euros, but yeah, I feel you for sure. Okay, good question. Aiden says, do you need to jump high to hop bar? It depends, Aiden. So some people hop bar and just flick the bars like this. And to do that, like they only hop maybe this high up. To actually do one where you drop your hand back, you throw the bar, you catch, you land, and it looks really clean, you definitely need to hop pretty high. So yeah, that's why I always say, guys, for every trick you're trying to do, you need to have a solid bunny hop. You need to just practice bunny hops because, like I said, any trick, you got a bunny hop. You can learn them without hopping super high, but they're going to be sketchy. You're going to have a hard time learning them out of a quarter because you're doing them weird. You're going to have a hard time learning them with spins because you're doing them weird. So yes, you can technically learn them, but you need to get like a nice, clean, proper one where you J hop, you flatten out, you throw the bars, you land. That's the only way to progress with it. If you learn them just hopping and throwing real quick, awesome, you landed bar spins, but you're going to have twice as hard of a time once you start to learn 360 bars, 180 bars, fly out bars, things like that. I bet that sounds funny in the mic. Um, beef? Okay, okay, Korean. We didn't get an answer, did we? Oh, here we go. I'm back to where I was trying to be. Sebastian, what do you think about the new Panzer frame? IDK, I just want your opinion. Okay, Sebastian, I will go look right now. Um, should we look at it on anthonypanza.com or should we look at it on Colt.com? Let's check out anthonypanza.com. So if I mean, I'm sure it's oh, sorry, that product could not be found. Anyway, if it's like the other frame, it's got what, like a 12.5 or 12.6-inch chainstay? Yo, I can't find it anywhere right now. Um, if it's like the other two short frame, it's just a really responsive back end with a steep head tube. So it's for technical riding. Think about how Garrett Reynolds rides, really technical with lots of spins, lots of quick bars, stuff like that, versus how like Gary Young rides, where he's a lot more flowy and a lot more fast and high type style. Hold on. I'm gonna try like this one more link if I find it. Um, this looks like the same as the other one, but I'm gonna assume it's the new one. Yeah, 75.5-degree-inch head tube angle, so that's steeper, like I said. 12.5 to 12.8-inch rear end, so what 12.65 is centered. Yeah, guys, very responsive, very technical. It's going to be hard to control. So when you're riding really fast and going really high, look, let's just think about in terms of turning. Okay. When you have something that's not very responsive and you turn this much, it's a gradual turn. Now, when you have something really responsive and you turn this much, it snaps. It snaps to that angle that you're trying to turn to. So imagine on dirt jumps, right? You're trying to just carve over and you have a really snappy bike, like that's going to kill you. But in terms of like doing a feeble hard three, you want something really snappy like that. So that's what the two short frame is. I think it's a cool frame. I wouldn't ride it. I think it's the back end. I have size 13 feet and I would hit the pegs for sure. But for you guys with smaller feet, that's not too bad. Who's Anthony Pandas? Oh, like I said, my back dying this morning. So we're at an hour, but I'm having a lot of fun right now. So I'm going to keep answering a few more questions. Throw those questions in because we're going to start to wrap it up pretty soon. Somebody's in class, Sebastian, watching the stream during class. Dude, you're a legend. Thank you for hanging out in the stream. I love having you guys all here. I think it's so cool. Fatburger says Panza himself said, hey, hey, no, they know everyone thinks it's ugly and that's why he likes it. Oh, you're talking about the frame, huh? Um, Plunkett says, hey, Dougster Bob, I need a comparison on the Cult Access versus the Sunday Blueprint. I will have to do one of those like gladiator videos for you, man. And just break it down that way. But now I have the Dougster Bob score. Actually, let me see if I have those two bikes in there right now. Hold on. I don't know if I did Cult Access yet. Oh, okay. Cult Access. And what was the other one? Sunday Blueprint. I know it's in here. I know it. Maybe it's not. Sunday Primer Park. Oh no. Sunday X. Sunday Primer. Sunday Soundwave. No, I don't have the blueprint in here. Okay, soon, but not yet. Eventually I will get there, or I'll just do it in a gladiator video over there, okay? Let's see, guys. Oh, there was one more good question. Zane says, I'm thinking of buying the cult devotion. Is it worth the money? Yes. It is. So the devotion or the Sunday X, they kind of go hand in hand there. I think the devotion's a little bit better than the X, but the thing with the devotion, like I talk about, is that it's really big. So not just the 21-inch top tube, but the chainstay is 13.6, and that's like one of the biggest chainstays on a complete bike out there, period. So it's going to be harder to like snap around spins and just it's not going to be very responsive. It's going to be really flowy, which is good for newer riders getting back into the sport because, or just newer riders in general, because being able to have that kind of control over the bike helps you build those skills long term, whereas something really responsive and really snappy is harder to control when you're getting into it, and that can be very frustrating. So the devotion is good for a taller rider who's new to the sport, or around it, but it's mid-level quality, so it's designed to last. It's a really good bike. Rado, what's your dream car? Okay, Jared says the frame is only on Instagram. That's why I cannot find it. Can you buy it on Instagram? Are they selling it that way? That's pretty cool if they are. Barto Lazo, what's up, man? Welcome to the live. He says, I learned bar spins 7 months ago, and the more I do them, the worse I get at this trick. I'm having a mental block. So I talked about this a little bit on one of the lives. Because this Ren learned 360s and then he couldn't land it anymore. Hold on, I'm trying to find a picture that goes with this. It's good question. Bro, did I delete it? Nope. Okay. Anyway, so I'm working on this ebook called BMX Brain, and it talks about more so the psychology around progressing, because action sports are really hard, and you have to induce yourself into a flow state to like subconsciously do the tricks you know you need to do, bail when you're crashing, because if you crash, you have split seconds to make a decision on how to get out of it. Are you going to tuck up and roll? Are you going to throw your legs out? Like, what are you going to do? And there's a lot of different psychology books that I read about flow state, action sports, polyvagal theory, all this stuff. And I'm putting it together into a BMX book that correlates it to BMX. It's really fun. So this was from one of the chapters I'm working on. If you can see it, can you see this chart here? I'd hold it closer, but then it's blurry. So anyway, the way it works is this bottom part is you. Okay. As it goes up, that's your confidence in the trick. And as you go along, that's your competence, meaning how much you know about it. Okay. And this happens in BMX. It happened with me, like I explained for tail whips. Okay. So you start out here and you have the idea of the trick. This is where you're not confident in it and you know nothing about it. But as you start to gain confidence after tons and tons of attempts, you're up here and you peak. Once you actually land the trick, you're going to be super confident in the trick. You actually land it. But here's what happens over time. As you start to understand the trick as a whole, it gets hard to land again. And that's right here. Okay. And then it gets really hard to land again, and you're really inconsistent with it. And then, so this is where most people quit in this little dip here. We land a trick, we get good at BMX, and then it gets harder. And it happens for literally everyone. Like it happens. It's okay. And the difference in the pros and the beginners is that the pros stuck out to here where most people quit right here. So that's going to happen for you, man. You're probably right here right now where it's harder to land, and it's going to get even harder. I promise. But if you stick with it, the reason that's happening is because your brain is starting to use its like subconscious mind. You're not actively thinking about it as much as you were when you first started learning it. So you're still like embedding it as a habit. Does that make sense? And it takes a while for your brain to figure that out and to lock in with it. So eventually, once you get to that last part of the chart where you're fully competent in it and then fully confident, you're able to do it on command without thinking about it. But you've got to go through that really tough part where you can't actually land it. And like I said, it happened to me with a bunch of tricks. It happens all the time. So, so yeah, I hope that helps. It's okay. Keep trying. That's the only thing. Corey says, how long did it take you to manual? Dude, it didn't take me that long, honestly. I think yeah, no, I learned it somewhat quick, but not very good. I can think of a story when I was like 13. Like we're going down a hill and I'm like, "Ooh, I'm gonna manual down the hill." So my parents live like, let's say, way up here on this hill by the school, and we go all the way down to the bottom of town to Circle K, and then that's where we'd get a giant drink, and then we'd just go ride around. And down that hill, I tried to manual and I looped out and I couldn't run that fast because we were going super fast and I just died. I slid on the concrete. It was a terrible time. But I learned manuals really quickly. It took me a little bit longer to actually control them and be to where I'm at now where I can manual very good. Let's see. I'd say, dude, probably like a year of constantly trying them before I had them really good. My dream car is Tesla. We're talking about dream cars. Isaac says, "What was everybody's first trick after bunny hops?" Of course, that's a good question, man. I can't even think back to what my first trick was. What was yours, Isaac? All right. Um, Marvin, what's up, Marvin? Glad you are here. Um, let's see. He says, Doug, how long did it take you to learn bunny hops? Again, that was one of those tricks that was really easy for me. Once I got my first like DK bike, that was my first real bike. I learned them pretty good, and it was barely up in the air. I could barely hop, but technically a bunny hop. So, funny story though, I started to learn how to hop up curbs. That was the first thing I'd challenge myself with was hopping up a curb. And that God, it's so crazy to think that that was like 11 years ago when I first started and was trying stuff like that. And now it's like 11 years later, and here we are. Like bunny hops are nothing. But at that time, I was like, it was hard, guys. So it oftentimes I definitely forget how hard it is to get into BMX and start out. But like you guys have me thinking back to stuff like that, and it was hard. Like, here's another thing that was hard is I was confident. I thought I was pretty good, but literally everyone in my town would like talk shit about me because I thought I was better than I was. I wasn't that good. And like BMX is tough because people are like that. Like if anyone's better than you, they don't want to see you get better than them because then it hurts their ego. So for you, like not just learning tricks, guys, but staying strong mentally and like not listening to people who doubt you, like that's a whole nother thing. But anyway, with bunny hops, I would hop up, have a curb to hop up on, and it was by my mom's house, and I could barely bunny hop. I hopped up the curb and I freaking nose cased the curb. I flew over into a flower pot and like smack. It was a big pot, flower pot, and I smacked into it. And then I realized I couldn't actually bunny hop that high. So that was a terrible experience. Bunny hops probably took me a few months on my first real bike to get. That was a sad day, man. Sad day. Isaac says he found 80s really hard, but X-up rides easy. That's funny, man, because I am just barely learning X-up rides. I've been riding for, like I said, 11 years, and I just barely learned them. Real quick, I'm gonna answer this last question. Wait, there's two. The Plunkett. Oh my god, we got all these chats. Says, when did you start BMX? So for me, I started when I was technically 12. Almost 13, I got a Walmart bike, a Tony Hawk bike from Walmart. I don't know why Tony Hawk had a BMX bike. Don't know. But it was like the $140 Walmart bike. That's what I got. We had some dirt jumps where it was mostly just hills that people would try and jump. And then Andrew Coleman built some pretty fat jumps on them. So I'd take my Tony Hawk bike there and I'd try to learn how to jump. That was when I started. I was like 12-ish. And then my 13th birthday, my mom and my stepdad got me my first BMX bike. It was a DK Reaction. It was like a $250 bike. And from there, the rest is history, man. So yeah, I'd say 13. I'm 24 now, almost 25. So 11, 12 years ago. Crazy, long, long time ago. If you guys look at it from that thing, like if you look at how good you are a month ago, think about that, but now times that by 20, right? And think about how good you are years ago. It's crazy to think about. You guys, you're struggling with a trick right now, but if you stick with it after a few years, that trick is going to be nothing to you. You're going to be like, wow, I can't believe I doubted myself or whatever. So yeah, a long time ago. Yeah, they definitely do suck. I destroyed that bike. I had the pedal and I got mad. I threw the bike and the pedal broke in half. I've never seen a pedal break in half, but that was a Walmart thing. So uh yeah, Jared says it takes 21 to 28 days to form a habit in your mind, and no matter what it is. Dude, very true. There's a book called The Power of Habit. And it talks about this guy has short-term memory loss. Okay. And he lives with his wife. Short-term memory loss. He can't remember like 30 seconds ago. Absolutely no memory. But to keep him active, the doctor said to go on walks with him. So she'd go on walks with him every day. They do the same route. Come home, he'd watch TV. She was putting makeup on one day and he's gone. This guy is gone. He's not in the house. The door's open. And she's like, he can't even remember where the bedroom is. Like his memory is so bad. After freaking out for a while, looking for him, he's back in the house sitting down watching TV. She's like, where'd you go? And he's like, I don't know. But he had like pine needles and stuff that he'd collected while he was out. So he went on this walk all by himself. And his habit of going on the walk with his wife, he was able to do that. He has short-term memory, and the reason that is, like, that's just showing how powerful habits are is because we don't use our or our conscious brain to think about it, and we can't even explain why we do the habits we do. We just form them, we have them, and so, like, learning how to correlate BMX into those habits is, like, the difference in the elite and then the not so elite. So yeah, is there any last minute questions? If there's not, guys, can we get 30 likes before I leave? That would be dope. 30 people, 30 likes. I'm gonna look for one more question. Sebastian says I should do a BMX history on yourself. That's kind of a cool idea. I don't know. I really don't like talking about myself very much, which is kind of funny because it's a lot of what I do on here. But I don't particularly like it. It's kind of weird. But I mean, if you guys enjoy the stories, I don't mind telling them. All right, guys. Next live, I might do another one on Sunday. It's going to be a surprise live, eating pizza and chilling again. I might do that. So be on your toes, be ready for that. Otherwise, next Friday, we will be right back here. The first 5 people in the live to post in the chat will be the moderators for the next live. And yeah, guys, you guys are awesome. This was a super fun live. I'm gonna edit it and like do some little short clips of the highlights from it. Um, yeah, you guys are awesome. Thank you guys so much for being a part of the community. Make sure to keep growing BMX with me. Get more riders in there. Um, Rado is posting off banging emojis. All right, guys. You guys have a good day. Thank you for hanging out. I'm gonna do that blueprint comparison for you. And yeah, guys, peace out. Thanks for being a part of the community. Bye.